This is a very important video on why relationships fail. I need you to watch the entire video. There may be some things that you already know and you're expecting, but I am almost certain you're going to hear some things that throw you off guard or you were not expecting in this video. But you need to hear it because we need to help you and others escape the trap and the pitfalls that are destroying relationships. My name is Stefan Labossiere, aka Stefan Speaks, back with another dating and relationship advice video. This is for the men and the women. And as I said, we're going to be talking about 5 reasons why relationships fail. As always, before we get started, be sure to like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel, and as always, leave your comment below on why you think relationships fail. Now listen, let me say this real quick. I find it so fascinating that people highlight the divorce rate and they use the divorce rate to validate not entertaining marriage or how to downplay marriage or their reasons for not wanting it in their life. But the breakup rate is probably astronomical if we could actually measure it, all right? So many people are getting in and getting out of relationships, and so many people are suffering and experiencing the bulk of the damage in these relationships. So by the time they even get to a potential marriage partner, if that's what you want in your life, you've gone through so much, you don't know how to deal with the good thing when it's in front of your face. But I digress. We're not going to get into that right now. What we're going to focus on is why. Why are these relationships failing? What are we doing wrong? What approach are we taking that is working against us? All right. So let's get to it. Number 1 reason, no particular order, just starting off with number 1. First reason why relationships fail, a lack of emotional maturity. So here's the thing, or here's the problem. So many people have not learned how to manage their emotions. So many people are reactive rather than thinking, praying, processing before taking any action on what they're feeling. All right. And this creates so many toxic situations. This creates situations where people say things they regret. This creates people taking actions that come back to haunt them. So much goes wrong because people do not learn how to manage their emotions. And we're not really being taught that. Unfortunately, it's almost like you're supposed to freestyle in life and figure it out. And unfortunately, you're probably surrounded by other individuals who lack emotional maturity, so you don't even know what a good, healthy level of maturity looks like emotionally. You're sitting here thinking that your dysfunctional ways of handling things, no offense, just keeping it real, but your dysfunctional ways of handling things are normal, are par for the course. This is the way it is. But the reality is that this is why so many relationships fail. This is why over 80% of relationships are failing, because that lack of emotional maturity. You've got to learn to pray before you react. You've got to learn to think before you react. You've got to learn how to understand that what you're feeling in that moment, all right, can pass. And it may not truly depict what's actually going on. Yes, sometimes when we're talking about intuition, granted, you know I'm a big believer in intuition and I would never want you to ignore it. But even in listening to your intuition, well, actually, no. If your intuition's hitting you, just listen. I don't want to make any excuses for that or give you any alternative route in there. If it's intuition, that's one thing. But when it's your mind, when it's what you're seeing, when it's what you think you're hearing, it's not really a spiritual thing occurring within you. It's not what you're sensing. It's just what you're processing in that moment very quick, not properly processing, just quickly emotionally processing and then reacting. That's a problem. That has to change. And again, if we would just learn to take a step back and not be so quick to react, so many relationships can be saved. So many people will not see relationship go left. And sometimes what we don't realize is even if you think you've escaped the moment of your reaction, possibly destroying your relationship, what you don't realize is you've planted the seed. You've created a crack in this relationship to where now your partner is more on edge. Now your partner is looking at you differently. Now your partner is hesitant to be more open with you. Whatever the case may be, all because of the way that you reacted in that moment, and then we struggle to get past that. So a lack of emotional maturity, first reason to mention as to why relationships fail. Now, the second reason, which completely connects to the first reason as to why relationships fail, is poor communication. So, piggybacking off, we said in number one, a lack of emotional maturity. So a lot of times people are just reacting, people get upset, they get in their feelings, and rather than talking about it, they either shut down, they act out, they do things that work against them. Whereas if they would have just sat down and discussed it, they may have been able to fix things. I cannot tell you how many times I have counseled a couple, whether it was a married couple or just boyfriend and girlfriend, and the relationship ends. And when you talk to both individuals, what you find out is neither one completely had a full picture as to what the issue was. And they didn't have that full picture because the other person never fully explained it, as well as they never fully explained it. Well, same thing. They never fully explained it to their partner. So essentially, people think they're talking, but they're not. What they're doing is they're arguing, they're screaming, they're reacting in the moment, all right? But they're not effectively communicating. So one, it's not just talking about it, it's effectively talking about it. It's learning how to be heard and to hear them. It's learning how to gain the clear picture of what they're saying rather than assuming things. So much goes wrong because people assume, well, this is what they meant. This must mean that. They start analyzing, overthinking, and they assume wrong. And you know what they say about assuming? I'll leave it at that. But the bottom line is you have to learn to talk to each other. You have to learn how to gain clarity. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, what am I supposed to do if I'm with someone who doesn't want to talk? Well, my first question is, why are you still with them? If you can't talk to your partner, there is no relationship. What are we doing there? We're wasting our time. Now, again, you should make sure you have taken all steps to create healthy communication in that relationship. But if you've done that and they simply refuse, there's nothing to do. It's time to let them go. All right. So make sure that that is the route that you've taken in trying to establish effective communication. And the key is you want to do that as early as possible, not even just in the relationship, while you're even dating. If you have a dysfunctional way of communication or just not a strong foundation of communication in the dating process, well, guess what? You're going to take that into the relationship. You're going to take that into the marriage. You're only going to pass on the bad habits and the dysfunction if it's not corrected. So you can't keep waiting because the longer you wait, the harder it gets to correct it. The more you have to undo. The process gets a lot more difficult. And so for a lot of people, it's not that the situation cannot be fixed. It's they're too tired to do all the work to fix it. They're too tired to deal with all the drama and baggage that has been piled on from bad communication, from a lack of emotional maturity, and all the other things going on that create dysfunction. And it's just like, I don't have enough energy to deal with this, so I'd rather just walk away. Or they remain in the relationship, allowing it to be more dysfunctional, causing more damage. So at the end of the day, you got to talk. You got to be able to communicate because poor communication is a huge reason why relationships are failing. Next on the list, number 3 reason why relationships fail. And this one, honestly, is probably my favorite. When I say favorite, I mean it's what I really feel passionate about talking about right now. You're not maintaining who they fell for. Now, notice I said who they fell for. I didn't say fall in love with, simply because not everyone's actually falling in love. Some people are just becoming attached, infatuated, but again, that's a whole nother video that we'll talk about that topic. But the point is, them falling for you, which can include all of those things mentioned, falling in love, infatuation, whatever. Their reason for wanting to be with you, those things fall to the wayside. Those things disappear. So let's get more specific. All right, let's start from the woman's angle. And this is just examples. If you're a woman, you're dating this man, and initially he's taking you out, he's calling you on a regular basis, let's say daily. He sends you good morning texts, whatever it is that you like that made you say, man, I really want to be with this guy. And then at some point, he stops. He's no longer consistent. He's no longer doing the things that got you. And guess what? The same thing happens on the other side. The woman initially doing all this sweet stuff, making him feel good, showing him the love and attention that he needs, presenting herself to him in ways that makes him happy. And then at some point, it falls off. And unfortunately, people have this expectation of, well, if you love me, you should love me despite me taking away the things that actually made you want to be here. All right, think about that. You should love me enough that despite me removing the things that made you even want to be with me, you should overlook that and stay with me. But I should not love you enough to keep those things on the table to keep you happy. What kind of dysfunctional mentality is that? Again, no disrespect, but the reality is so many people are engaging in this mindset where you think it's okay to fall off and they should maintain loving you. And listen, guess what? Newsflash, they may still love you. They just don't want to be with you in a relationship. They don't want to stay committed, which goes to the title of this video, Why Relationships Fail. Again, some people did not stop wanting to love the individual, but they did not want to be held in a committed relationship with someone who does not want to pour into them the things that they need and desire, who stopped giving them the same things that made them say, I choose you. We have to learn how to maintain. Now, granted, life hits us, things change. There's going to be maybe some deviation, but we cannot use that as a scapegoat. We have to understand that we have to make a commitment to maintain at least at a good level, because I think we're all reasonable enough to understand that you won't be perfect every day. Some things will change here and there, but to simply just say, deal with it, remove it, and not even work towards bringing it back, that's a problem. So you better believe, yes. And again, if the relationship doesn't fail as far as that person leaving right away, it unfortunately opens the door to infidelity. Now listen, I'm not trying to excuse it or validate it. I'm explaining it to you. When you remove the things that made them happy, when you remove the things that made them choose you, they start to look for it elsewhere. They start to seek that attention, that love, whatever it is that they were getting from you, and then no longer getting it. They look to get it somewhere else. Now, again, we can sit here and say, well, they should just leave the relationship. Absolutely. But it doesn't always work that way. And regardless, the point is they're wrong for what they're doing, but you also have to hold yourself accountable for not maintaining the good things that they enjoy. That is your responsibility too. You can't ignore that. You have to own that if you want to avoid another failed relationship. Now, the fourth reason why relationships fail, this might hurt some of y'all. They were never who you truly wanted. Plain and simple. Every day I see people settling. Every day I see people who can't be with the person they truly love, so they go find someone else to fill the space. They find someone else to distract them from this reality. And all you're doing is setting yourself up for a guaranteed failed relationship. And again, let's not always equate failure with the two people break up, because some people stay together in dysfunctional, unhappy, miserable relationships and marriages. That's still failure. There's no point in being together if you're going to make each other miserable. But to get back to the original point, yes, too many individuals are getting with someone when that's not who you really want. That's not who you feel the strongest for. That's not the person that you are drawn to and have a high level of desire for. They are just good enough to be with because you want to be with someone. They're good enough to be with because you can't be with the person that truly has your heart. And unfortunately, this is not fair to them, nor is it fair to you. You are living a life where you will feel a void as long as you stay in that relationship. And there are many of you watching this video right now who feel this void. This word is punching you in your gut because you know this applies to your situation. You know you don't belong there. And I'm sorry if this is making you feel some kind of way, but I need you to hear this. Because it is inevitable that you're going to suffer even more remaining there. It is inevitable that you will do more damage to that individual who may be blindly thinking that everything is okay. But your heart is not in it. Your heart was never in it. You don't belong there. They don't belong there. I'd much rather you be single, focused on you, and preparing to receive what is truly best for you than to be in a relationship where you know you settled, where you know this ain't for you, where you know this is pulling you away from where you truly belong, not just in another relationship, but in your life in general. So again, the point is, people are choosing individuals they never really wanted to begin with. And that is a surefire way for that relationship to fail. So all this brings me to the last reason why relationships fail. And real quick again, there can be other reasons, which is why I want you to comment below, add some more to the list. These are just my big 5, you can say, all right? This is just my big 5, you can say, all right? So number 5 is there was never a connection. Now, again, this kind of goes hand in hand with they were never who you truly wanted to begin with. But any one of you who have watched my videos in the past, who have read my books, you know I am big on connection. Now, to kind of give a brief explanation of connection, to me, connection is a deeper spiritual occurrence. It is when your spirit is recognizing its match. It is when two people can truly be themselves with each other and love each other. It's two people who are very drawn to each other. It's two people where it just clicks. It's just there. You don't have to force anything. I always say you cannot create a connection, nor can you destroy it. There are examples of people who met when they were younger. They felt this amazing connection. For whatever reason, things didn't work out because connection doesn't guarantee you're going to be with them. And again, that's a whole nother video. But the point is, those people, let's say they fall apart, 10, 20 years later, they run back into each other. Because for whatever reason, not whatever reason, but connection, it always comes back around. At some point, it always comes back around. And when it does, it's almost like nothing's changed as far as you still feel it with them. The feelings come right back. It's like you were talking to them just yesterday. Like, connection is a very strong, powerful experience, and it's not something you experience with everybody. You can like a lot of people, you can love a lot of people, but you do not feel a connection, a deep and genuine connection with everyone. And it is not to be confused with chemistry. But again, I don't want to go too deep because this requires its own video by itself. But the point is, this is what I have found to be the huge missing ingredient in these failed relationships. And not coincidentally, but the point is that when you have connection, a lot of these other things I mentioned, they go away. Two people who have a deep and genuine connection have an easier time communicating with each other. They do have a high level of desire for each other. Now, the lack of emotional maturity can still be a problem, even with two people who have a connection, all right? But they have a better ability to work through those moments, all right? And so ultimately, connection is in some ways not a cure-all because, again, there are so many issues that can get in the way of two people who have a connection actually being together. But it is the ingredient that can strengthen the relationship that will give you a higher rate of success. And when it's not there, it is pretty much inevitable the relationship is going to fail. At some point, some people can tolerate that person year, 3 years, maybe 5 years. But at some point, when you don't really like them like that, you just don't want to be there anymore. And you just try to make it work, maybe for the kids, maybe because you built this life around this whole false relationship, maybe because you're trying to prove people wrong, maybe because your family wants you to be there, maybe because of your friends, whatever, all right? But all those reasons don't change the fact that you don't feel a connection with this individual. You never did. And this is why relationships and marriages are failing. So many people are marrying the person they have no connection with. And they're able to tolerate this individual because they have bombarded themselves with things in life. They bombarded themselves with my work, my kids. They find extra things to do to distract themselves. Their life is filled with distractions to keep them from accepting the reality that you don't really like your partner, that you don't really feel like you belong in that relationship, that you do not have a connection with them. But to not face it, you go deal with everything else going on in this world and you use it as your scapegoat. That's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. But again, to get back to the point here, this is why the relationship fails. This is what needs to be corrected. You got to make sure you get in a relationship where there is a genuine connection. All right. Now, here's a quick bonus, because if you know anything about me, you know I'm a believer. You know I'm a man of God. So I cannot let this video end without saying, for me and for other believers, a huge reason why relationships fail because you're not putting God first. You're not keeping God at the forefront. And listen, when we say put God first, it's not just saying it with your words. It's not just acting all holy and better than anyone in any kind of way. No, it's about leaning on God in the tough moments. It's about learning to let God guide you when you have that situation where you need some more emotional maturity. It's about letting God tell you who is the person for you and who's not. It's about letting God lead you in that moment where you feel like acting a fool because your partner's acting a fool. But if you went to God, he would check you real quick and you would get yourself together and handle it appropriately. You would handle it more effectively. We've got to learn to make God the focus. We also need to learn that if we're in a relationship where we say God is first, then let's pray together. Let's come together and go to God together. Let's have that intimate moment. Praying together is such a powerful, loving, intimate thing to do when you're in a relationship. And it will help strengthen that relationship. So again, let's not just talk about God being first. Let's actually take actions that include him and that hold us to a higher standard of how we treat our partner, how we pour into this relationship, how we represent this relationship when we're not in front of our partner. Because it's not about just acting nice when we're in front of them and then act a damn fool when you're not. No, it's about maintaining that high standard so that when people see you away from your partner, they still see that shining light. They still see that reason why, dang, that's a great, amazing person that clearly has God in their life. I don't want to go on and on, but the point is, make sure God is a priority. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Number 3 on the list of red flags in dating you should never ignore, they lie about the little things. Now, I chose specifically to say the little things because what I have